In this video of Strings Ivory, we're going to do a walkthrough of the scale and chord charts within this book. First, we're going to take a look at the scale charts and tables and diagrams. And you get 4 pages of information with each scale system. Here we got step sequence 1 in the 7-tone scales. And it's the major scale with all of its modes, with the second mode being Dorian, third Phrygian, fourth Lydian, fifth Mixolydian, sixth Aeolian, and seventh Locrian. Get the names at the top, and below each name you have a scale formula, or also known as an intervallic formula. You got all the degrees within those formulas that make up that scale. And underneath of the formulas we have harmony, which is all of the chord types that are compatible with each scale or mode above it. And on the lower half of the page, all the modes are listed with a musical notation, guitar tab, intervallic formula, and then the step sequence. A lot of times we'll find a side note of useful information in the corner of the page or at the bottom of the page somewhere. The next chart is the keys and modes and formula chart. This will help you find any key for the modes and scales with this step sequence. So if you wanted to be in the key of C in the Ionian scale or the major scale, you would look at the formula, the intervallic formula next to it, and find the first degree. And then you travel upwards in that same column until you find C. So that's your key. And you always move right in that same row. So you got C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. That would make up your C Ionian scale. But if you also wanted to be in the Phrygian and you want to be in the key of C, go down till you find the third mode, Phrygian, and in that same row you find the first degree again, and you move upwards in that column until you find C. Now moving right from this point, you'll find the notes in the Phrygian key of C. You got C, D flat, E flat, F, and G. When you hit the end of the chart, you go back to the left side of it, and you get your A flat and your B flat, and you come back to C. That will make your C Phrygian. Always, if you start in the middle of the chart somewhere, you work your way to the right, and then you go back to the left side in that same row, and you can move right again. Or if you want to be in the C of Aeolian, find the mode, move to the right till you find the first degree, move upwards in that column, you'll find C, C, D, and you go back to the left side again to get your E flat, F, G, A flat, and B flat. And that would be your C Aeolian. Or let's say if you wanted to be in the key of F sharp in Aeolian, still go off of your first degree, go all the way up until you find F sharp. Here it is. So you got the F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, and E. That would make up your F sharp Aeolian. Very useful. You also have piano patterns on the right hand side, down that right edge. And there's 2 octaves there, written out, displayed on the piano pattern, to make it easy to visualize the modes. And the root notes listed on the left side of each diagram relate to the far left column here. And the third page that every scale will get is guitar diagrams for each of those scales or modes. And it takes those intervallic formulas and plot them all over the fretboard so you know where every degree is of that formula. You get a real good visual aid for every mode, all the way up to the 15th fret. In the fourth page, it's just simply the last 3 modes or scales of that scale system. And that's it for the scales. And it starts all over with the next scale system or step sequence. Get all the same information. Now moving on to the chord section. You also get 4 pages of information with every chord type. Here we'll have the major triad. At the top you always get the name, the abbreviation, and the formula. And right below that on the left side we'll have the chord spellings. You get the root and all the notes within those spellings for every root. Get your inversions with the formula and the name. Musical notation with the root above each one. Guitar tabs and piano diagrams for every root for a major chord. Then the next 3 pages are the guitar diagrams with the chord formula plotted out all over the chart, just like the scales. And what makes it real simple is when you're trying to make a major chord, as long as you get one of each of the degrees and you play them all together, you have created your major chord. And that's it for the chords and scales charts and Strings and Ivory. You get a total of 76 chord types in those displays, and 387 scales are displayed in those charts.